So I'm preparing to center the clay here. I've got some clay that I've wedged and I've set it up on my wheel head. Now I want to point out a couple things. My stool is all the way up to the wheel head. I've got the towel over me to keep me clean, mostly clean. And I'm going to sit with bad posture. I'm leaning over so that my shoulders are over the clay. I've also got my legs right up against the side of the splash pan, and all of that helps me stay braced. When the clay starts running around, spinning around here, it wants to bounce me around. And if you sit like this, you can get bounced around like crazy. Particularly small people, but all of us get bounced around. So I'm going to lean myself over so that I can lean my body into that clay. I keep adding water so that I can, my hands slip over the clay. And this piece of clay is kind of dry. I've left it out for a while. So I'm actually going to change my body position. I'm going to bring my elbow into my stomach, and I'm going to lean my whole body against the clay. Now, this clay is still pushing me around quite a bit, but I'm not letting it bounce my arms around because I'm leaning into that clay with my body weight. My right hand is doing the work. My left hand is there to keep me steady. If I'm out like this, I'm going to fall over or lean sort of strangely into the clay. That other hand helps me stay steady. So I've brought this clay up using the palms of my hands. My fingers are curved around the clay, but they're not doing most of the work. It's this part of my hand here doing the work. And after I've brought it up, I'm going to bring it down. To bring it down, I'm using this part of my hand to push down right about in the center. And notice that my hand starts bouncing when I get down to here. I've got all this stuff that's irregular. I'm going to see if I can get any of that up into the body of the clay. But you don't want to scrape up your hand. There's grit in the clay, and basically it treats this wheel head like a sanding stone. So I'm going to use the right edge of the wooden rib to scrape that stuff off of there. You can see mine is kind of worn away from here, but I'm using this right angle to lean it right up against the clay and scrape that away. Now, if I add some water so I don't stick, I bring my hands all the way to the bottom, or about 1 millimeter above the bottom. Now you see the clay is not bouncing me around. I'm still using the palm of my hand to bring this up to what we call coning it, squeezing at the bottom and letting my hands come up. My elbow is braced against my body, my right elbow. My left elbow I try to keep close to me as much as I can. So I brought this up, I've coned it up, and now I'm going to change hand position. I've been working with the palms of my hand. Now I'm going to change hand position and move down. I'm going to use the palm of my hand on the top and the palm of my hand at the side, and these two hands are going to work together to come down. Now, it's you notice I keep putting the goopy stuff back on the surface. Goopy, slip, throwing water works a little bit better than just tap water because it stays on that surface longer. I also want to point out to you, I didn't absolutely use a flat piece here and a flat piece here, palm here and palm here. I really did kind of tuck my hand around that corner. So as my hands are coming down, rather than having the clay come out between those two pieces of my hand and mushroom, the folded over hand will keep things steady. Now my clay is a little hard, so it's taking a little bit more effort. You'll find, depending on what clay you're using, whether it's stuff that's been recently recycled or stuff that was sitting for a long time, if you left it out, it'll be drier or wetter and your amount of pressure will change. If you've got drier clay, you have to find a way to keep yourself braced. If you've got wetter clay, you have to find a way to keep yourself from going too fast and pushing too hard on the clay. This is the centering step. We started by coning it up, then we changed hand positions and brought it back down. Some people don't like to cone, and if you are somebody who has found the coning to be a problem, and it sometimes is more of a problem when the clay is wetter, you can actually just alternate between pushing with your right hand to the side, pushing with your left hand on the top, and alternate between these two, and that'll get you centered as well. It's the way I learned originally, and some people prefer to do it that way. You'll also see other videos where people use the blade of their hand over on this side. All of these things are fine. Different techniques that you see are fine as long as you get the clay centered. And by the end, if your clay is centered, Your hands should go over it without moving. I've got a little air pocket here I've discovered. Your hands should go over it without moving. As you look at it from the top while it's spinning, it doesn't look like it's moving at all.